Om Shri Sai Ram. Offering my most humble and loving salutations at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Lord, Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Respected elders, eminent guests, brothers and sisters, a very loving Sai Ram to all of you. I was just mentioning, Viru, that you put me on a spot. Who can speak after Bhagwan? When he starts talking, nobody else can talk after that. Well, I shall do my duty of sharing few thoughts, and I feel grateful and humbled for this opportunity to come and share this beautiful occasion with all of you. It's always a joy to be in the company of God-loving people, especially who are inspired and touched by our Lord Himself. Because when on these occasions, we are, consciously reminded of our past. We are made to think about the moments with our Lord. And each time you remember them, it fills you with more joy. It's a strange experience which all of us have. So I stand here not as any scholar or an authority, but a privilege that Lord bestowed on us. And I love this conference topic. When I was shared this thought, beat with one heart and serve with 1,000 hands, the first impression which came to me, my mind was the Virat Swarupa, the cosmic form of the Lord. One master, one heart, but with hundreds and thousands of hands serving each other. Service is a very beautiful topic, an aspect which I have always found myself attracted towards. But I shall today share with you through some stories what I have learned from Bhagwan about service. So let me take you through a journey of our student's life. I'm sure all of you are interested in that. The beauty of Bhagwan Baba, everybody can share in their own words and in thoughts, and I'm sure still it cannot be completely penned down or comprehended. I don't know when this form became God for us, because when we came to Him, He was the most loving, as Viru said, energetic, bubbling with energy, running around with us. So when we used to look at Him, we used to wonder, why the hell world calls God? What is God? I don't know what God means. But people say He's God, something special. But what it means, we don't know. The world has own definitions. When we reached Puttaparthi, we were in high school, and we were from all over the world actually. We had students from Mexico, from UK, from America, North India. Trust me, India itself is a huge country with multiple countries inside one. So when I say I'm from India, from North India, it's like a different continent than South India. So we were from North, everywhere. So in our batch, the dominance was always from the northern side. And most of our parents had told us, you naughty fellows, behave. Now you're going to God. So please don't bring bad name. Can you imagine the pressure we have on? So you're going there, do not behave, misbehave, please behave properly, get good name, and you are with God. So like that we reach Puttaparthi, and I've been sharing this story with everybody, but small little introduction is required. When we come in that beautiful, the temple of learning, the divine hostel of ours, everything was very South Indian, trust me. Sambar in breakfast, sambar in lunch, and sambar in dinner. And today I like it, but it is not easy. I've seen my Western friends carrying spoon in their pocket in those days. trying to manage this sambar, and our South Indian friends will just sweep off with his hand. You won't even know where the water disappeared. So we had such variety of experiences, but in heart of hearts, we were craving that, hey God, are we going to suffer like that for next 3-4 years or what? Like sambar the whole day. How can you tolerate that? And there enters this Lord, beautiful, asking you, how are you, children? And we scream, Swami, beautiful. Because the moment you look at him, you forget everything. You forget all the sambar problem. You just look at him. And he will smile and say, everything happy? Yes, Swami. Do you want anything? No, Swami. But suddenly one day, after 1 week, he says, how was the food? And that is where the whole journey started, like, wow, Swami's asking for food. And somebody squeaked from behind, Swami, sambar. And then Bhagavan himself made menu. Can you believe? He made menus for 3 days in a row. And he did not touch sambar for 3 days. We had all the varieties. Then he made it menu for a week. And he said, now, after 15 days, you must repeat that. So warden said, Swami, I'll repeat every day. He said, don't. How can my boys eat the same food every day? At homes, you eat cornflake every day in the breakfast. Am I sure? No, don't pretend, okay? Nobody has time to cook varieties. But there, our master was caring that he said, how can you eat the same breakfast every day? So we had one day South Indian, North Indian, continental, Chinese, and every variety was there. And trust me, South Indians can make rice in so many ways you can't even think of. You don't know what kind of rice they make, So they can have rice in multiple manners. So we have so many varieties running around. And Bhagavan was like that. We didn't even realize how he became close to us. Some intelligent person must have said rightly, the way to your heart is through your stomach. And the master knows it well. He created stomach so beautiful. He gave us lovely food, variety, and he became our favorite. Yes, Viru mentioned, I was totally nostalgic looking at Bhagwan's videos. When we joined, he was in his late 50s and early 60s, Today, I won't disclose my age also, I'm very youthful. My father used to tell that after 40 our life starts, so I've just started my life. But imagine today, if I have a meeting in the multi-story, I will tell all boys, hey, come down, man, we'll sit on the ground floor. Because who will climb 3 stories to go up and talk to you? So I will drag the boys down. And when I was doing it, I recalled, we used to take Swami to 3rd floor. Swami, please come and see my room. As if my room had some luxury there. There was nothing, but we wanted him to come and see our room, how we lived, how we stayed, and he would oblige. He would just pull his robe up and say, and he'll take you up, and he will walk faster than you. Today I feel really guilty and sorry that how dare we do that. When he was 60, we made him run with us. Today at 40 plus 50 closing, we are tired to run 2 steps. We are thinking, can we have a ground floor meeting? Is the air condition fine before I can talk to you and say yes? But there was our master who never blinked. The moment he said, Swami, please come, he would just rush. He would not even worry what he was wearing, what he was doing. He would just come. We made him run up and down every room. His duty was just to go around the classroom and walk out. Such compassion. But can I call him God for that? I don't know. I didn't know what God meant. I didn't care about it. Because I found somebody whom world called God, but who became my most beloved friend. Who was there at a beck and call. If I had a problem at hostel, next day when I saw him, his eyes conveyed the solution. His smile conveyed a solace which I needed. There was a boy who was shivering in the cold. He was not from a good, well-off family. And a Parthi can get cold also. And there were a few weeks when the temperature dips. He was shivering and he didn't feel like writing letter to his father at that time. Very simple, because in those days cell phones were not there. You had to literally book a trunk call to call your parents. And if you call, then people think as if your voice is directly going to reach America. Hello! Do you recall those days? We used to scream so loudly in the phone as if the same voice is going to reach there. In those days, the boy did not feel like calling. And he said it will be a few days, he'll manage. He was shivering at night, but he didn't complain about it. We had no fans in the room. We used to sleep on the floor. Not directly on the floor, but we had a small little mat and little folding mat, and we used to sleep there. I'm sure all of you have seen and experienced it. Next day, afternoon, we are all for darshan, and this boy was sitting in the bhajan hall. If you all recall, how many of you have not been to Parthi? Thank God. Okay, one. How many of you have not been inside the bhajan hall? All of you have been. Great. So you can visualize. Think of the bhajan hall mandir. The first on the right side is Swami's entering door, which leads to the entry room. If you walk further, there are windows on the men's side, right? And through the windows, many times Bhagwan would stop, put his head close to the window mesh. Do you recall that? And he would talk to the boys. The most beautiful moments, right? Of his leaning in forward, touching his hair. It was most gorgeous. I used to tell him that you are really culprit, you know. You make yourself so beautiful and he messes up. And then you say, don't love me, have detachment. Who the hell cares for detachment now? First you make it yourself so beautiful that you make us fall in love, and then he says, I won't talk to you. That's criminal, huh? But what to do? That afternoon we were all sitting down and Bhagwan walked by. He had finished his interviews and he came and stood next to that window, and he, as if he was searching for that boy was sitting in the middle. He called him. He came forward, and Swami had a small bag in his hand wrapped around. There is no conversation between boy and Swami. It happened last night. This afternoon, Swami passed him a bag, and he blesses him with a quick word, and he goes off. The boy is in tears because when he opened that bag, he found a blanket inside. Now, who told this master that there was somebody who was crying at night, shivering, but he didn't have the guts to tell his parents or nobody? But here the master knew. The omnipresence, when the world talks about, we don't know what means, but we have seen it. The words with Bhagavan becomes alive. When we say God means omnipresence, omnipotence, omniscience, these are big words. We can give discourses for hours. But this small act of God showed us what omnipresence means. A small gesture conveys everything. Before we realized, we understood what God is, but we didn't know it. How He comes to you. You walk into the mandir and He'll start telling you, why were you looking outside? When you're walking from hostel to mandir, why were you looking at shops? Hi, where do I look now? Can't you look straight? Why were your head like that? Are you a crow? Oh God. So imagine you're walking like this now. Hey, don't talk to me, man. Because Swami will catch you in the mandir. Now, can you imagine that consciousness he raises, that God is everywhere? And you would say, where am I, Ra? Where am I? So that's a big question. Where am I? He says, I have eyes all over me. I can see from everywhere. You can't escape. So one boy had a, we have a lot of techniques of avoiding punishments. In Puttaparthi, if you want to avoid somebody, just do meditation. Close your eyes and suddenly nobody will touch you. So this trick was a very olden trick we had. So suppose we see a small spot in the mandir, portico, and you want to jump in and hide yourself, just go and sit down and start meditating. Then nobody can tell you anything. But if you're looking around, they'll, hey, get up, go back. So we used to have a lot of these tricks up the sleeves to hide ourselves. But Bhagavan was he was always smarter than all of us. So he would say, Dunna Potas, I know exactly. You know why I gave you white dress? At least your outside can be clean, man. Inside you're all horrible. At least outside look neat. And he'll say, I exactly know. All of you pretend to be saints here. But I'm not worried how you behave in the mandir. I'm more concerned how you are before you come to mandir and after you leave mandir. Because that is what proves your character. And he would make sure that we know, we are aware that he's aware. So before I even could comprehend what God means, my God had become God for me. This Bhagwan Baba became God because he showed those aspects which we define God theoretically. All of us start to think alike. In fact, it's a very common thread for all of us. We can discuss a topic, we can debate on it, we can pull each other, but we never have a conceptual disagreement for anything. And the reason is because the moment God becomes our point of focal, then the understanding is same. And that is what the heart is one. Implementations can take different shapes. You can do it differently, I can do it differently, he can do it differently. That is fine with Bhagwan. But the form, the purpose behind that activity should never change. It was 1980, I think around 86, when Swami announced, just before our holidays, he said, boys, and you know, he's such a beautiful management guru, if I may call him so. He teaches you all the technique of how to govern, how to manage people. He's a master who could have commanded us, come, and we would come. We would lovingly come. We would happily come. But you might never have seen or heard him tell you point blank what to do. His favorite statement used to be, according to me, this is the right thing, but you choose, as if we have any other choice left now. But he was always diplomatic. मेरे हिसाब से ऐसा कर सकता. According to me, this can be done like this, but you think. And tell me, what do you think? Oh, as if I can think now. But see how he plays it. So he comes to us and says, children, I am thinking of doing some village upliftment program. And if you want to join me, you all can tell. Then I will incorporate. Now, who the hell doesn't want? Like we all said, yes, Swami. He said, okay, if you want, you all can come early. Your holidays, you can come early because this project is going to be in holidays. And trust me, most of us used to be waiting for holidays to come. Because that's the only time when no warden, no principal can shout at you. You can spend the whole day in mandir. But unfortunately, he was the biggest policeman in front of us. The moment the holiday would start, he'd say, get out, go home, go home. So it was always a conflict going on. And suddenly he says that if you come back early, I'll take you all for some village service program. Who cares for service? We had no clue about village. Swami is calling, come. So we were all officially asked. Those of you who are interested to come back early, can please give names. Obviously, the whole hostel gave names. Who wants to miss that point? But Swami never commanded. Look at the beauty of his management skills. He wants you to own the activity. He never wanted to thrust the activity on you. He wants you to feel it, like he would to joke with us on Suprabhatam. Say, how many boys go to Suprabhatam in sleep? They carry blanket also with them. So they'll start like that and then go, oh. So he used to pretend all that. He will act it out, our Suprabhatam sessions. He'll say, why can't he? Then he will make a very beautiful statement. He says, boys, it should not be by force. It should be from the source. See, all that he will teach you in a small things. So there he announced, boys, come. So we all gave names and we got the names, and Swami sent his own tailor. He said, now I'm going to stitch dresses for my children. How can they go and work in the village with whites? Whites will get spoilt. See, we are so hung up with white now. We have to wear white everywhere. But he gave us a khaki dress that day. If you recall, we had a khaki pant and a khaki shirt. And then he got 2 buses made. Brand new buses were ordered. And the buses were fitted with sound system. So we could sing and play and all that. Can you imagine? We are going for a picnic, man. Who says we are going for service? We had a good time. So when we returned on that beautiful day and Swami was ready, Swami said, yes, all the boys have come, my children have come, now let us go. So he gave us a beautiful set of instructions, what we have to do. In fact, our planning, our whole plan was done in such a way that we went to such remote villages in that time when those people had not seen an automobile at that time. Can you believe? We went to such interiors. There were no roads. We used to literally sit on top of the bus with that cutter in hand and keep chopping the wood as we are going forward. There's nothing. There was no roads. We used to dump everything and put a roller and make the flat road for Swami's car to come. So we used to have fun. So early morning, the session started. We were all given the dresses. We wore the dresses. We were looking very handsome. We put vibhuti and all that. You know, that is our costume. Like you all have makeup and lipstick, we have vibhuti. So we have to be fully dressed. So our dress was part of vibhuti and we are ready. And early morning, 6 o'clock, we assembled in front of Mandir. Very excited because early morning darshan, and Swami came out from top of the balcony and he had fruits in his hand, apple and mango. I think morning he used to throw apples and evening he used to give mangoes. So he knew that mangoes will spoil our hand, so apple. So he gave us apples from top. Everybody would have apple. Now watch me when I explain to you how we used to go for, our royalties used to go for service. So early morning, 6 o'clock, the God has to come and give darshan, give us apples and say, now go. So we used to board the bus and the bus was filled with fruits, idli, and little snacks. It's all stacked up there. So my boys should not feel hungry as they're going to service. And then we had mic system so our music boys can sing. So imagine having a banana and songs are going on and we are making a lot of noise and that's how we go for service. So by the time we reached there, it was around 8 o'clock and then we will start the little bit of work. By 10, the Lord would send a breakfast for us. My boys must be too tired. They should eat something. So we have a breakfast now with some nice, sometimes it used to be idli, sometimes upma, uttapam, with chutney and all that. Nice breakfast. So we have a breakfast at 10 o'clock. After a nice sumptuous breakfast, again we work. Work was basically just to clean some roads, cut some wood, something like that. It was very fun. We used to all take picture sessions. Hey, take man, I'm taking some basket here. So it was all fun. We had fun. By 12:30, lunch was served and all hot, mind you. Not the food which was kept in the bus. That is only snacks on top of it. So Swami said, my boys can't have cold food. So the fresh food was made in the canteen and used to come in a next car or a van to the site. So at 12:30 we'll have lunch. Now we have 1 hour lunch. Nice, we can have nice lunch, fully packed, beautiful, hot. After 1 hour, we can't nap. That's the only condition, but we have to go and work again. So we'll do some little bit of work. And by 3:30, there is a tea time. How can you forget tea for Indians, man? You have coffee, we love tea. You can go without food, but not without tea. So we have evening tea with snacks. Sometimes there's a biscuit, something. We have tea. Can you imagine how much we ate? And sometimes when the roads were done up, even Swami would come in the evening, and he would bring on top of all of this, he'll bring some more fruits. Because the royalties of his children were serving. We are doing some kind of so-called service. Then we'll finish all of that, and we knew that Aarti Bhajan has to start at 5:30 or something, so we should reach before that to Mandir. So our program has to close by 4:30, so that our buses can reach on time. Now time up, man. And you claim that you can finish on time? Look at us. Punctually we'll close the work, run to Mandir, and that is the only time when we could walk into the Mandir dirty. We didn't have to clean, wash, nothing. We just, with all the mud in our body, we could just walk into the Mandir, and our master waiting for us in the portico. He was just standing there, my children have come. And as soon as we come, we'll just run inside. How many of you have remembered those 80s when we used to run like horses there? You can't even walk today, man. They'll seal you. But we had a territory. We could just run inside. I'll tell you the joke afterwards. The person, okay, let me tell you here only. So, from the gate, entrance gate, when our lines would come, we'll walk in very organized manner from hostel to the Mandir gate. But from gate to portico was no organization. If Swami is standing there, then finished. Because it was like a life and death scenario. We could have defeated Ben Johnson at that time. Because that moment of sprint we had, you can't even imagine. We can do hurdle chase in that 100-meter sprint because we had to dodge. Because we had to reach that spot we had identified, that's where we had to sit. So people had already learned that Swami pampers these kids and these fellows run very fast. So nobody used to sit in the portico. The portico used to be empty block. So we'll run and crash there. It so happened one day, one elderly gentleman, some people get spiritually very inspired in the middle. So that deflation is very different. So Swami does that job, not us. So one fellow got inspired and he just went and sat in the middle of the portico. Now imagine when we are running, we are literally horses, we are looking at like dash. You can't come in middle between Swami and boys. So when the first boy was running, he saw the obstruction there. So he diverted himself and he went off. Second fellow also, hey, and he jumped and went. So 2-3 boys went, but the fourth guys did not see that fellow sitting in the front. And there was no time in the split second to think how to dodge, because you have one person running next to you, both sides. So you can't go side. And if you stop, then you lose the spot. What is the point of standing in the queue for 1 hour and you lose the chance just because somebody is sitting? So this fourth guy did not know what to do. He jumped on him. When the one fellow jumped, the old man saw somebody flying from top. He bent down. And the moment he bent, the fourth fellow jumped on him. So like that, before he could realize, we had a stream of boys jumping over him. And he had slowly gone down. And he was totally down before he could realize. And it all happens in split second. You talk about Superman speed, we are faster than that. 300 of us come, zoom, and we are done. And I told you, when we make mistakes, we go into meditation. So the moment the boys jumped, and before he could wake up from his, everybody around him was in meditation. Everybody goes in meditation. So he can't even see what happened. So when he got up from he was so shocked. He was angry. And our Lord is most mischievous. And somebody loses his temper like that, he is the first person to fuel it further. And that day he called him for interview also. Can you imagine when you are already firing, Swami said, come. And the moment he entered, he started screaming, Swami, your boys are very indisciplined. Swami sat down quietly, he looked at his face. He kept listening to him. He said, Swami, no discipline, Swami, no respect. They jumped over me, Swami. After 30 seconds of silence, Bhagwan looked at him and he said, who asked you to sit there? He said, what? He was expecting kind of a support from Bhagwan. And Swami said, who asked you to sit there? You know my boys run for me. You are jealous that they don't run for you? Why did you sit there? So he got punished, poor fellow, and Swami didn't talk to him for 6 months after that. Don't complain to Swami. Now you can't, but people used to take chances to Swami, And Swami came out and he had to do his formality, so he shouted at us also. Boys, bad behavior. I'm getting complaint. What is this? You have no value for me. All that he shouted at us, and then next day he said, all of you should walk slowly. So we had to walk from Mandir, the entrance to the portico. It took us 15 minutes. What used to take us 30 seconds, it took 15 minutes. Everybody walking like a bride now, slowly, slowly. So one day Swami washed. Second day Swami said, very good, very good, very good. Come. Third day he was standing there and we started walking slowly, slowly. Swami said, hey, no fun. Hey, run. Now that was our God. I don't know what you think of God, but for us, God was like that. He was the fun. He was the most beloved darling. But anyways, coming back to the story. So here he gave us some 3 meals. And then when we reach Mandir, we are dirty. And the first thing Bhagwan says, my boys must be very hungry. They have worked the whole day. Do you realize? And he had apples, mangoes ready. And he would immediately start serving mangoes to all of us. Personally, throwing mangoes at every one of us. Now, in which definition this was service? I don't know. For us, it was like a picnic more than service. We had fun. Every day morning you come, get a blessing from Swami, get his apple, then drive, eat on the way, then go and do some little bit of work, then eat breakfast, then eat lunch, then eat tea, then have something, then come back again and have mango, and then go to canteen. And canteen had a lavish meal for us because special food ordered by Swami. Because my boys have worked the whole day. Can you imagine? My boys are so hardworking and you fellows are giving them sambar? No chance. Full course meal in canteen. Like that, we were introduced to something called service. None of us understood that he was hooking us. It was much later when Kasturi Garu replied to us and he said, boys, be careful. All this is an hook. His smile, his looks, all that is hook. He hooks you and then he cooks you. And that cooking continues for life. So he cooks, he hooked us like that. But it became part of our growing. And before we realized, we could not live without serving. Today, each one of us, if we do not engage ourselves in these activities, you will find vacuum in your life. See, this is what he has done. He gave us a taste of living for something else. He gave us an understanding, a feeling inside to live for others. And that experience gave us such a joy, such fulfillment, that no amount of personal accomplishment can fulfill it. And the result was we got addicted to it. That's a high for us. I used to ask him, he said, we are driving 3 hours to teach Vedas. I said, are you nuts? What happened to you? For 1 hour class, you drive for 2 hours? But it's an addiction. You can't help it. That's what our master did. He never rested even for a second. For every child, for every devotee, for every youth, if there was a need, master was there. He never cared for his sleep, for his rest. So how dare can we ask for rest? But the addiction of serving, for giving others, was so high that that joy is unimaginable. And he hooked on to us. The result happened, I'll fast track you now, fast forward it to 2002, I think 2001, I think around, no, 1996, around there. We all had graduated out of college. You know, it's a very dangerous experience to graduate from Swami's college. On one day, you are the royal king, prince of the whole campus. You can go and sit anywhere in the portico you like. We have seen days when we could knock at Swami's door and pass our letter. Forget about standing in the darshan line and waiting for Swami to look at you. If you have urgency, you could knock at his door and say, Swami, and he would sometimes call you inside or give you prasadam. I'm sure my Kiran Brother and all are here. They have wealth of those days of experiences to tell. People could walk in. They were boys who had to go for work. They would not wait for Swami to call them or look for things. If Swami is doing an interview, they can walk into his room, take namaskar and walk out. They were informal. They were so close. Proximity was very high. From there, suddenly, one day we are announced, you're no longer a student. You suddenly become an ex-student. Can you believe that? You lose all the privilege in a split second. Now, where do we go? There is no place to sit. A person who could walk in and sit anywhere in the mandir asked to go and join the devotees line. I said, what? Are you crazy? We have never seen that line. Have you seen that line? It's like 2 miles long. You have to stand for 3 hours. What is wrong with you? But that was a whole overnight. It changed. It was a reality shock. My God, this is what is called not being a student. Can you imagine? And Swami is on top of it. He will start avoiding you more. So we got together to think, how can we get back our status, so to say? How do we get back? What right we have to go and tell Swami that, Swami, your children have come back? We have nothing special. We have done nothing great. Why should he continue to shower that privilege on us? So we all came together. It was a very big brainstorming for, I think, a year or more. And ultimately, we all decided that the only way we can even go to him or even approach him is when we do something as an offering to Bhagwan. And that is what he had taught us, to serve. So he said, okay, let us do that. So some brothers close by Puttaparthi, it was almost 13, 14 kilometers. There was a small cluster of villages which had been forgotten by Swami's water project. Strangely enough, he gave water to the whole district, but he forgot those cluster of 5, 7 villages. There was no first aid, the temple was broken, there was like a shamble. So we thought, here is a spot for us to prove it now. So within 24 hours, we converted the whole village. We fast-tracked the whole village development for 20 years. That village, after we finished by Sunday night, that had a road, first aid clinic, school block was made, temple was reconstructed and painted. We made a ground for the children, a kacha road, the temporary roadway was made, connected to the highway. Water was the only thing which we could not provide because that required huge investment. So we just upgraded the whole village. So we thought that, look here, man, we have done something extraordinary. Now Swami must compliment us. Because we are so used to going for darshan, namaskar. Come back from darshan, namaskar. Swami, we are going to sneeze. Okay, take namaskar, go and sneeze. So we are so used to namaskars that we are taking the privilege it is. Swami, I am going to seva. Tisko, manchidi. So that was Swami's style. So we are spoiled brats. So here we thought that, okay, now we have done something mammoth, man. We are in our minds. Can you imagine that village, cluster of 5? They had no water, man. They had no electricity. There are no roads. There are no school. 24 hours, we gave everything. So we all landed in Puttaparthi. And now we are a little smart also. So we brought the villagers also with us. Because we can't compliment our own selves. That much we had learnt. So we need somebody else to speak our glory. So we got the villagers in the bus and said, you sit and talk to Swami. So they were sitting in front of us. We are sitting. That is the first time when we got in front of the garage, that spot was given to us to sit. It was not given to the alumni before. It was not there for us. So that spot was given to us just to sit and make an offering to Swami. Today it has become our permanent spot. We are outside the portico, but we are inside the mandir. So we were sitting there, and we made the devotees, the villagers, come and sit in front of us so that we can see also. Look at our master. He walks straight to them. That is his genius. We have not told him formally, we have not communicated, and they are well dressed, they are sitting there. Swami goes straight to them, and he goes and talks to the head of the village, and he says, so have my boys done everything? Putting a stamp that whatever they did was his will, even though there was no formal communique with Swami. He says, have my boys done? If you need anything else, tell them. They will do it. So the villager was like, no, Swami, they have helped us in everything. Manchidi, very happy. If you need anything, let me know. So they said, Swami, water we need. Nirleda, water not there? I'll give you. Right there, he called the engineer and he said, within 15 days, I want the water here. Go and inspect, make a report, and report me by evening. So the engineer ran from there to do the survey, and within 15 days, they had water. Now that drama was over. Now Bhagavan is from there walking towards us to go back to the mandir. So we all lots. Now trust me, you may think the students are very close to Swami, we have played around with Swami, and it's easy for us to talk. You're highly mistaken. It's never easy for anybody to talk to Swami. Unless he allows you, you can't even open your mouth. But because of our privileges, we have those, formats through which we try to approach Swami. And if he allows it, it opens up. If he doesn't allow, then we are done. So we had a layer of boys. First batch was the boys who had little bit of confidence to speak to Swami. They were in the front row. Then the next who could scream louder. So like that we had organized ourselves. Swami came. He was not looking at us. So his face was down, his head was down, and he walked. As soon as he came close to us, we started the shimmering of voice, Swami, Swami, Swami. And he looked at us and says, Amy. Now that Amy means what? It's like, oh my God. Half the voice sat down right there, because that energy is different. Somebody from behind, we didn't know what to say, because all the planning we should do is forgotten at that moment. The moment he says, what? Somebody said, Swami, Pad Namaskar. Because we had no other energy to ask him of any other privilege. We just said, okay, at least give Namaskar. He says, why? Now, in our whole life, he has never asked us why for Pad Namaskar. Now, this question we had not prepared. No, we had done our dummy preparations of what he will ask, what we will respond. But this why was never a question in our mind. That can Swami ever ask us, why do you want Pad Namaskar? So somebody from behind, the front boys had totally choked. They had lost their voice. So somebody from behind shouted that, Swami, we finished the village work, Swami. He said, so? Now why, what, so? These are not the questions which we are used to in our life. We were pampered lot. We sneezed and Bhagavan was there with 10 doctors. Why did he sneeze? Somebody giving you electrol, somebody giving you a health pill, all that. And today he's asking, so? Now the whole lot was down. We had no energy to even say why we want Namaskar now. Because it was beyond our comprehension as to why is he becoming difficult. But the good thing happened, he stopped walking. He looked at us. And he asked, do you brush? He says, what? Here we are talking about village work, water upliftment program, Pad Namaskar, and he's asking, do you brush your teeth? So we were like, huh? Because the question did not come into our heads, like, what is asking? He again said, do you brush your teeth? So we had only to nod. Yes, Swami, what else can we say? And then he said, should I give you Namaskar for that also? So then we understood that we have treaded a wrong path today. We sat down completely. Then we had no energy to question, argue with him again. But he became a little soft, thank God. Because that nobody has ever imagined this question series with Swami. Why, what, so, do you brush your teeth? And he said, boys, the way you brush your teeth, that is your duty. So you should serve, that is your duty. What is so big deal? You are helping your own brother and sisters. Do you need somebody to compliment you for it? Why do you need Path Namaskar for that? If you do not serve, then you don't even deserve to be a human being. The serving has to be your nature. That is your qualifier to be even called as human beings. And if you serve your own fellow beings, why do you even ask for Path Namaskar? Now imagine we all sank inside. Like they say, Sita Mata, open the floor, we are going in. All of us wanted to dive inside the Bhumi, said finished. And trust me, when he's in a ferocious mood, you can't look at him also. But then slowly he mellowed down, he started talking. But the first statement he made was very indisciplined. Here we are thinking we did a great service project. In 24 hours we modified the village, and his starting compliment is very bad. Lack no discipline, ledu, no discipline. You're bringing bad name to Swami. Now we are wondering what happened here now. The villagers are happy, we are happy. Everything went fine. Why is he killing us now? And he said, where are those two boys? Now imagine the omnipresence of Lord kicks in right there. He points out to two boys and says, bad lead. What were you doing under the tree talking after the lunch break? And those two boys also had no idea that they did something wrong. It so happened that we were served lunch. We eat on that leaf. So we were all sitting under trees and all that, wherever there was a spot to eat fast. These two boys, after they finished the meal, hardly for 4 or 5 minutes, they must have taken extra break. And they stood under the tree chatting. That's all they did. They did nothing else what we can call as a sin. But the God said, everybody finished their meal and went back to work. Why did you two boys continue talking? No, they were looking at each other like, what happened now? So they asked for forgiveness. But Swami said, see, if the villagers see, they'll say, my boys are wasting time. You took a break for lunch, you eat your lunch and go back to work. Why should you stand under the tree and talk? So for 10 minutes he explained the nuance of that how conscious and careful we must be, that it is not important that you are good. It is more important for a spiritual person that you are not bad for others. It is not important if I do things believing that my heart is pure and I am fine. Swami says that is the basics of spirituality. Once you start walking the path of spirituality, your question should be, my dress, my behavior, my action, my words should not become bad for others. If I am the cause of a bad feeling in others, then I am not being a good spiritual person. So your standing there has created thoughts in the people's mind, could have created that my boys are wasting time. And that is wrong. So all the goodness you have done is wasted if you are the cause of bad thought. So first we got scolding, which is a good sign. Kasturi Garu used to tell us, children, as long as he's shouting at you, he's screaming at you, he's angry on you, know that you're on the right track. Keep walking. The day he starts praising you, run. Because you have done something horrible and it's end of your life. So as long as he's not praising you, be happy. Compliment yourself. I'm fine. Keep going. So when he started that way, then he stood there for almost 40 minutes, explained about the nuances of service. He explained about how we should do village activity, what planning is required. You won't believe it. The Narayan Seva, which our boys do in Parthi, it is the most scientific and logical process. From data collection to the execution is a phenomenal activity. We know exactly how many houses are there. In each hut or house, how many families live, what is their age, sex, education, income, cattle, cat, dogs, whatever they have, we know it. We have a huge Excel sheet. And then the children, we go as a college to serve the place. So service is not just an activity of convenience that I have a privilege, I have fed some people. Like our sister was telling, it's a big planning. But look at how he planned it out. And then Bhagwan, he is not easy. God becomes more and more difficult. And ultimately he says, Chudu, listen, as long as you remember that you have served, you have not served. So can you imagine? And on the other hand, he'll say, report to me, what have you done service? So the moment you're reporting, that means you have not served. All that is an eyewash. So it was a big catch. So on one hand, you are supposed to live by serving. On the other hand, if you remember that you have served, he says, you have not served. You have only done a drama. You're doing a business. Service is when you serve and you forget that you have served. You don't even know when your breath becomes that. And when I look at Bhagwan, this is my learning. When I look at Swami, his every breath was a service. Because he lived every breath for others. Not even a second this master all his life has given to himself. When I say himself, I mean physically. It was all for others, all for others. And for him, there is no others. Because he said, how can you are not different from me? So when I am helping you, I am serving you, I am actually helping myself. Imagine the oneness, the unity of thought. That oneness that you and I are one. So who is serving whom? So the result was, from the first day, I'm making it like I'm sharing my summary of my learning. This is like 30 years of our learning curve. From the day when he made us get a new dress, gave us a bus, fed us 4 times in a day to go and do some kind of work in a village. From that day to this day when he said, if you serve and you remember it, you have not served. Why should I give you Pad Namaskar? The same God who gave us 4 times Pad Namaskar. Before, after, going, coming, he was not giving 1 Namaskar also. Because he said, why should I? Because that is your life. So imagine from that mode of learning. In organization I've seen, we call this as an organization. But I find Bhagwan's organization is the most dynamic structure ever in this whole human history. It is the most unorganized and the most organized structure. We have all the code of conduct, but we have no rules. Look at the dynamism of God. We have all the freedom to do things, but we have regulations to work on. This unique combination is mind-boggling for people to even comprehend how to govern, because we are so structured. We need 10 points to self-realization. He gives you that also, but he says nothing is required. Imagine in that dynamism, this Lord has created this organization. In my little understanding, I feel everything which this organization represents is our life. If we understand it, there is nothing like organizational work and my work. The moment you start thinking about the purpose of life, the moment we understand the purpose of living, everything else will fall in its own place. That is what Bhagwan Baba did to us. if I can summarize it like that. Swami made us realize, think. He made all the environmental pressures possible just to make us understand and ask this question, who are you and what is your purpose? Why are you? Who are you and why are you? And the moment we start thinking from that point of life, everything else falls in its place. The moment I know I live for God, like brother said, we all live for each other and we all together live for God. That purpose, when we were a student, our purpose was to bring smile on his face. We danced for him, we played for him, we laughed for him, we cried for him. If you recall in 2008, as an alumni, we have January 1st as an alumni day in Puttaparthi. I don't know how many of you experienced that. It was one of the most beautiful occasions for all of us to go. On one year, some boys came and said, let us do some dance, because Swami used to love our bhangra. We'll do bhangra. Unfortunately, we didn't find the right kind of boys who had done before. But we found all the boys who had done it, they were all grown fat. Now imagine when we were doing in college time, we were all trim, like still I manage my Ganesha inside. But we have boys who have doubled up, tripled up, and they have family packs and all that, So no 6 packs, we have 6 rollers. So it's like fine. So all of us came together. So we said, okay, let us try it out. And I was watching their dancing, and hardly 1 or 2 were doing good. Rest of them were all jumping and huffing and puffing. And suddenly the thought came to our mind that, hey, our purpose is what? Our purpose is to enjoy with Swami, make him happy. So together we decided that your whole job is to make Swami laugh. And I put a condition on them. I said, boys, even if you die, you cannot stop the dance in the middle. That's all your criteria. They all agreed because they all wanted to dance. So imagine next day evening when they are sitting for darshan, they are all dressed up with all the headgear and kurta and all that. And everybody is like a fat guy sitting there. Swami came and looked, and you will not believe it. Swami had a very beautiful knack with us. When you go with a program with Swami, he will never interfere. Poor fellow will come as like an audience, he'll sit down and listen to your program, bless you and go. With us, it's not the case. We have to take the program, then he will very beautifully change the whole program. And that too on the fly. Its program is on and suddenly he'll say, change ra? Start this, start that. So he'll make his own program. So that's how we have to follow Bhagwan's word when he used to tell us, boys, never prepare, but be always prepared. So we have to prepare all the variety. Even talks have to be prepared, dance has to be prepared, because you don't know when he'll ask what. He can ask dance, so we should jump and start dancing. So it happened like that. They were sitting and Swami suddenly looked at him. He said, hey, what are these fat fellows doing? He used to call them pakodas. He says, what are these pakodas doing? So we just sneak, Swami, dance, Swami. He said, he was also, physically he will emote so beautifully. He said, how will they? He said, Swami. So then Swami called them, and they were like, really, they took time to get up also, that it's such a big radius they're covering. So they got up, and Swami looked at them. He had a smile on his face. And when Swami smiles, we know that things are fine, we can move further. And the boys started dancing, and Swami really stopped the program. He said, I want to see their dance. So we had kept their program at the end, because at the end you can make noise and close, but he could not hold his excitement. Can you imagine that? So he said, start. So those boys came in the front, and the music started. It was a live music, because we knew that they can't keep up pace with the recorded music. Because, we have to adjust with them. So music boys had to be ready to keep joining them and make noise so that they can continue. And you should have seen the worst dance ever from the technical point of view. But it was the best dance ever because they made our Lord smile. Swami kept staring at them as if he was looking like a magic show or something like that. It's like, what is happening to them? All of them puffing, sweating, but nobody stopping, because I told them, if you stop, you're done. You cannot. Even if you die, don't stop. Keep killing yourself. And after a few minutes, it was not a long dance, it was a very short. They could not survive more than 5 minutes. And the drums were going on, and when they collapsed, they all fell down. And Swami looked at them, and he looked at like that. He said, "Aipoinda." In Telugu, he said, "Is it over?" So we just said, "Yes, Swami." And then Swami started laughing. And the moment he laughed, the whole audience laughed, and everybody was happy. See, when God acknowledges you, even if you have done the worst, you become the best. And even if you have done the best, and if he turns his head away, you're the worst. And that chaotic dance of fat boys, Bhangra, became the best program of the evening, because they made Swami laugh. And then Swami called all of them, he blessed them, he took pictures with them. It was such a hit. Why? Because we all had one purpose. The purpose was to make our Lord smile. There was nothing else. There was one boy who made up his mind. Swami asked him, "What do you want to become?" He said, "Swami, you're Vidushak." Vidushak is, how do you translate that? Jester, yes. Jester, court jester, you know that who makes people laugh. So Swami said, "Hey, how will you do that?" He said, "Swami, I'll tell you some joke and I'll make you laugh." Can you imagine a boy having an aspiration to make Lord laugh? So Swami took him for trips also with him, because he said, whenever I want to laugh, I'll call him. I'll give you his few examples. Swami said, make me laugh. He said, "Swami, I'll ask you a question." He said, "Okay, tell me." He said, Swami, Ravan and Ram, what is one thing that Ram cannot do what Ravan can do? Even though Ram was God, but he cannot do what Ravan can do. Swami said, "Hey, Ram was God, he can do anything." He said, "No, Swami, one thing Ram could not do, only Ravan can do." So everybody is like looking at this boy, "Hey, are you doing a blasphemy?" Because it's a very thin edge, man. You are joking about gods now to the God himself. Swami was very serious watching him. What is he talking about? And everybody is now thinking what answers could be. And here Swami can't hold his excitement. He said, "Hey, tell the answer fast." I said, "Swami, please try, Swami." He said, "Hey, you tell the answer." See, the joke is like that. Swami, tell. So he said, "Swami, Ravan can sing in cacophony." Swami, Ravan can sing in symphony himself, but Ram can't sing. Ravan had 10 heads, so he can sing in symphony on his own. But Ram is only one head, Swami, he can't sing. So everybody laughed, and Swami was saying, "Hey, Dunna Pota." Next, he said, "Swami, what is one thing that Ram can do, but Ravan cannot do?" Even though Ravan was more knowledgeable, more educated, but Swami was more excited now. He said, "Hey, tell the answer fast." He said, "Swami, he can't remove his banyan because he's got 10 heads. So he can't remove his shirt from top. Only Ram can remove." Now these are our informal sessions. Can you imagine sitting with Lord, and he becomes, like you said, no, with children, he's a child. Literally, he's a child. He could play around like that. In olden days, when Kiran Bhai was there, I heard a story. I was not there in that era, but it seems they had a dining hall for Bhagwan. And Swami used to get a lot of crazy gifts from devotees. So some people might have sent, those small toy cars, with the cars where you push back and it goes forward. Those cars? So somebody had sent those. People are crazy. Devotees send that to God. Can you imagine that? You will send flowers, they send cars to Swami. And Swami had also thrown it to the boys and said, "This go." So these boys who were working in the house, they had those cars. So in the afternoon times, after the lunch and all, Bhagwan usually takes a break for an hour. He goes into his room and that is his time. So nobody disturbs him, it's very quiet. And then he opens it up to come out for darshan. So these two boys were cleaning up the dining hall. They had these toy cars with them. So they thought Swami is resting and the whole area is clean, sanitized. So they said, "Let's play." So one fellow stood on one side of the dining table, another on the other side of the dining table. They're playing car now. So they are shooting car from this side and the other fellow shooting from that side. And before they could realize, the Lord was standing next to them. When he sneaked in, they don't know themselves. And they were like, Swami, Swami. Swami said, wait, what are you doing? He said, Swami, nothing, Swami, just playing, Swami. Show me. And now he stood next and he started playing with them. Now imagine thousands of devotees outside in hot sun waiting for you. And what is your God doing? Playing cars. Toy car inside. Now tell me, in your wildest imagination, can these boys go and tell the devotees, wait, Swami is playing car? What can you say? But the master was playing car. He played car for half an hour and went back late for darshan. People were thinking Swami is doing some great service inside. One day he was standing in the portico with us and he was talking about food. And the discussion was idli. That was our favorite topic for months. Do you know idli? All of you know idli. You must know idli. It's the most delicious thing on this planet right now. So, and he would talk about idli size. He would call the boys and said, what was it idli? How thick was idli? How soft was idli? Then he would call the kitchen in charge and say, you don't know how to make idli. Then he'll teach you how to make idli. So all the idli discussion, the size and softness and hardness and color, you cannot imagine idli for half an hour, man. Can you imagine? Now imagine people waiting outside in darshan, they're looking at Swami giving discourse like that, hand movements. They're saying, Swami must be speaking about some Upanishads, some Bhagavad Gita discourse going on there. Swami must be talking about scriptures to them. Look at that expression. And the boys are so focused. How do we tell that he was talking about idli? So one such evening, the session was over, we were laughing and we were going back to hostel. And I, with another friend of mine, we were walking behind the lines. And an elderly man came running to me. And he said, son, excuse me. He said, Sairam, sir. He said, son, you are sitting in the front. I could identify you. Swami was standing in front of you. He gave discourse for almost 40 minutes. Can you please share a few moments with us? And now we both stopped and he said, sure. But then he said, what do I tell him, man? Because if I tell him that he was talking about idli for 40 minutes, do you think he'll believe me? So very politely we told him, sir, he was inquiring about food. And the man felt so sad. He said, sorry, that must be a personal discourse for all of you. I should not have asked. And he left. We felt so bad. How do I tell this gentleman that this Lord was talking about idli, for heaven's sake? For half an hour, he was discussing idli size, thickness. And he was thinking Swami must be giving some discourse on scriptures, raising our kundalini, I don't know what. That's how we grew up. To that master, we have no words of gratitude. To that master, we have no words to even express our feelings. We are and we remain eternally indebted to this master. In his playfulness, with his sweet laughters, he taught us the great truths of life. By his own life, he taught us how to live. In my little research, I can tell you, in the recorded history of mankind, nobody has ever dared to say, my life is my message. Even Krishna, Rama, nobody could say that. The perfection of our master is amazing. The perfection with which he lived, the way he talked, he spoke, he ate, he walked, is unimaginable. He was perfect. He was perfection incarnate. And as brother said, he himself used to say that all that what you are seeing me do, all that what you experience my powers, has got nothing to do with divinity. That is only because I am head to toe pure. All this energy comes to me is because of my purity. And he told us that if you are pure, this energy, this power is yours too. Because you and I are no different. To such God, what can we say? He has shown us that we all have a personalized God. Can you imagine? Imagine having a genie for yourself. I need something. Here he is. You don't even need to rub anything. Just think, and he manifests. He's so close, even closer than our breath. He thinks before us. He moves before us. 2 boys sitting at his lotus feet recently, a few years back, stressed out of American lifestyle. They said, Swami, life is becoming very tough. We both have to, husband and wife have to work to survive. Swami said, not for survival, but for greed. Swami can be very rough sometimes. And he said, Swami, but we have to make ends meet. Swami kept quiet for a few seconds. Then he pointed towards the mountains and said, do you see those mountains? Yes, Swami. So, there are some insects on top of the mountain? Yes. There are some small, small plants and trees there? Yes. Who gives water, manure to them? Who gives food to those insects? And Bhagavan said, after a beautiful pause, he said, if I can provide for those, you after all are my most precious creation, won't I look after you? So your purpose in life is not to survival, not to work for bread and butter, but for higher purpose of life. The Master did not come us to give degrees so that we can make some dollars and pounds to have some better living standards, because that is bestowed on us. He came us to make us realize that we have to work for something much higher than that all this is granted. One day he asked smilingly, and I'll close with this. He said, ask, what do you want? Em kavala, cheppu. Tell me, what do you want? And sometimes when he says something like that, we get choked, like we don't know what to ask. Those were times when we were stupid enough to ask him watches. I had a friend who asked him 4 times watches. I said, are you idiot? Why do you keep asking watch only? I like it. I said, man, how many watches you want to wear, man? Swami has already given you 4. But he said, I'll ask. Swami said, ask, what do you want, till I give you what he wants. See, our interpretations can work. And here is the Master who is saying, ask. And we are just shut. We don't know what to say. Probably after years of working with him and being with him, some sense had gone inside, so we shut up. Swami said, Cheppu, tell. And very forcefully we said, Swami, your grace. And Bhagavan immediately responded, says, don't waste your prayer in asking for grace. That's already in abundance. Ask something else. Now, what more can you ask from this Master who has given us grace free? People crave, they do penance for grace of God. Here is a Master who says, that's already given. Now go ahead and think of something more to ask from the Master. Can you imagine? That is the God which we have owned. We all have the privilege to say, Vivekananda asked this question, whole country he went around. Have you seen God? Only one illiterate master told him yes, and he became his disciple. And here, each one of us have this right, the capacity to say, we have seen God. We have touched him. He knows me, I know him. And our theory is not just a theory, it is based on experience. We have seen the power of God. We have experienced the love, the majesty, the grace, the bounty of our Master. And the only way we can express this gratitude is by living for him. And if in simple words I can say, the love and expressed through our behavior, through our thoughts, through our expression is service. There is no other way to live, my brothers and sisters, than to serve Him and to be in His joy. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Sai Ram.